Wear your hat lightly. MD or CEO is a big title. Everything's about big data these days, and we go out trying to collect information about our customers. But do we take the time to look within? What happens is that people wear these hats too heavily. They identify so much with the role that they forget who they are and who the role is. More than anything, these last 2 years of COVID have shown us that we don't know what's next. We don't know what's in store for us. I think the challenges that manufacturers face or entrepreneurs face are not too dissimilar from what everybody faces right now, which is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. So like, for example, rising prices of raw materials, of transport, of logistics right now, uncertainty around politics and political and economic stability, complexity now in our thinking around what the customer needs, around what the competition is doing, ambiguity and just not knowing what's next. And I think more than anything, these last 2 years of COVID have shown us that we don't know what's next. We don't know what's in store for us. The way I see it is that we're all attracted to beauty. Beautiful things, beautiful people, beautiful environment. And while there's no gold standard, there's no rule book for what is beautiful and what is not. As they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I do think that we do agree on certain things about what's beautiful and what's not. For example, we prefer overlooking the forest to overlooking a dump site. So there are certain things around that we all agree on. This is relatively beautiful and this is relatively not so beautiful. So the way I see it is we're going to be attracted to those products which are attractive, which are beautiful, which are pleasing to the eye. Rise to that challenge. And I don't think it's that difficult. I don't think it's that much more costly. In many cases, it's not even a difference in price. You know, it's the same, changing the label. To have a beautiful label or an ugly label, the price is going to be the same pretty much. You know, you may pay a little bit more for a more experienced or skilled designer, but I think the costs are worth it. So let's raise the bar, let's raise the standards. And I hope we've been able to do that to some degree in the snack industry at least. Potatoes has been my biggest problem, and I've given so many interviews about potatoes, so it's a bit boring. But I think agribusiness, agriculture is a challenge in this country, and I think it's something that can be solved because we have some of the most fertile land and some of the most predictable weather. I know we have climate change, but let's look around the world. We still have more predictable weather or more favorable weather than other parts of the globe, which are in severe drought or severe flooding, and we don't really have those type of issues. So I believe if we could get the agriculture piece right, train our farmers, equip them with the right tools, things like irrigation, the right technology, if we could help them with their mindset around long-term versus short-term rewards, I think that would be very, very helpful. Agriculture overall, I think, is something that we need to tackle. The expertise is there in the world. If they can grow and export vegetables from Israel and Saudi Arabia, I think we should be able to do it well here in Kenya. And that would help manufacturers like us who use agricultural inputs to ensure consistent quality. Mindfulness is a superpower, nothing less. Quite simply, it helps them to see more clearly, it helps them to think more clearly, it helps them to make better decisions. Because when we're mindful, we have access to a lot of data. Everything's about big data these days, and we go out trying to collect information about our customers and our suppliers and our value chain. But do we take the time to look within? Say, oh, how am I feeling? Oh, there's an emotion, there's anger there, there's frustration there, there's fear there. What is that telling me? What can I learn from that emotion? How can I be guided by it in my decision making? And once you have that self-awareness that mindfulness helps you get, you also are able to have empathy. Once you have the self-awareness, you're able to put yourself in the shoes of other people and understand what's important for them. So mindfulness is really a superpower, and it's integral and essential, I think, for any entrepreneur these days to investigate, to look at further, and to practice. My two greatest lessons that I've learned being an MD is to be curious, firstly and foremost. Follow your curiosity. I think it was Elizabeth Gilbert who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and she used to go around preaching purpose. And then somebody wrote her an email saying that, I don't have a purpose. I don't know what my purpose is, and feeling so bad about that. And then her realizing that actually a lot of people were feeling that way. What's my purpose? And instead now she preaches, follow your curiosity. And so I think that's a really good lesson that I learned as an entrepreneur or as an MD. See what interests you in your business. What are your values? What does the market want? What do my employees want? What do they need? What does this business most need from me right now? How can I add the most value? And so if you're curious, you'll find the right answers. So that's the first lesson I learned. And I think the second lesson is around identity. Like, wear your hat lightly. MD or CEO is a big title, and I think society reveres these titles, and they kind of make it all larger than life. That it's something to aspire towards. And I think what happens is that people wear these hats too heavily. They identify so much with the role that they forget who they are and who the role is. At the end of the day, you're just playing a role, and you say, how can I play this role as best as I can? How can I serve my customers? How can I serve my employees? And my shareholders or whoever else I'm accountable to. But don't take it too seriously to the extent that you think this is me. Because I think that's dangerous. And I think it's not necessary. What keeps me motivated? I think waking up and being present and being grateful. I think that's what keeps me motivated. I think some days, I'll be honest with you, I don't jump out of bed like a powerhouse, ready to conquer the world, like here's a new day. I sometimes wake up and I question, okay, what am I doing? What's my purpose today? How am I feeling? What's going on? Am I doing what I should be doing? I have those questions and those doubts. And so for me, what keeps me motivated, I look around in gratitude, in awe of all this miraculous creation around us. And I know it sounds a cliche, but if you just take the time to appreciate a flower or a tree, or another human being who's sitting in front of you, sharing their life with you, or the meal in front of you that so many people have worked so hard to create, whether it's the farmers, whether it's the person who's chopped those vegetables, or it was you, maybe it was your own hands, to cooking, to eating, just all those things. If you just take the time, for me, when I just take the time to appreciate and acknowledge that motivates me. The miracle of life motivates me to say, okay, this life is a gift, and let's make the most of it. I think to just lighten up a bit, and just be a bit more bold and adventurous, and also try things. If I wasn't doing what I'm currently doing, I would venture into music, because I've always loved music, and I've always been shy to venture into music, or apprehensive. What does success mean to me? It means being happy. And I know happiness is a loaded term. So people People define it differently. But for me, it's about well-being. Maybe that's a better word. Well-being, inner peace, contentment, because I think that's what we're seeking. How did I know it was time to step back from active management? 2017, June, the factory was burning down. It was an electrical fire. Thank God nobody was hurt. But I watched it with my team. We watched it burn for 8 hours. And a lot of things were going on in my head at that time. And one of them was a little bit existential, strangely enough. It was like, do I want to be doing this? Like, I know we're going to rebuild this thing. But do I want to be doing this for the rest of my life, this in the MD, CEO role? Do I want to be running this enterprise for 5, 10, 20 years? And the answer was no. The answer was no. There are other things I want to explore with my life. And there are other things other interests I want to explore, and other things I want to do. And I know how all-consuming this position is. And I think the fire was humbling, because in the weeks following the fire, I realized that I'm not indispensable. I think to that point of CEOs being revered, sometimes we get this ego complex. We think everything is dependent on us. Yeah, I have my team, but ultimately, I'm the boss. And you start to think that, if you're not there, nothing is going to run. And what I saw after the fire was that suppliers found other customers found other suppliers. Employees who we had to let go of because we were bleeding found other jobs. And then it made me realize that, actually, you're not indispensable. If you were to, as a company and as an individual, if you were to fall off the face of the earth tomorrow, life would go on. There might be some sadness, some grieving, some memorial, but life will go on. And so, humbling experience for me, and it made me realize that, well, yeah, if there's other things, Faraz, you want to explore in your life, then now's the time. And the business will survive. And I'm glad to say it's not only surviving, it's thriving without me in day-to-day management. So it worked. My name is Faraz. I'm a mindfulness coach, and I'm unthinkable.